Welcome to another edition of Independent Artists Unite song series. We have the dark duo from Boston, Ruben and Bo of Ex-Hyena here tonight, talking about their new single, Spiral Down. Welcome, lads.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Scott.
having
Good to
us.
see you.
Thanks for coming back. You guys are show veterans now.
Yeah.
I know. I know. We feel lucky. It's great.
I got to tell you, man, when I heard Spiral Down, I was so excited. Like I told you, I thought, to me, it sounded like kind of like Kraftwerk after the apocalypse kind of a vibe.
Nice.
But I tell you, I am so astounded at just like, I don't know, I'm such a fan of that fatty synth, any kind of fat synth sound like that. And it just sounds so good. I mean, you guys really, I mean, I was just joking when you were having trouble connecting. Bo, that you can mix your records, sounding better than Depeche Mode, but hard to hook up on Zoom. I mean,
It's
the
taken me four
quality
years
of the sound is so sick, man. It really sounds so good. Really sounds good.
of the
And
Zoom connection, or
no, Spiral Down. Yeah, Spiral Down.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
touche, touche.
yeah, yeah. We're happy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
we like those rubbery synths that bounce around and
Yeah, it's so
awesome.
cool. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I think that when we started working on the third album, we had a folder of tracks, that we kept working on after the Moon Reflections album, and
yeah.
um, there were like three songs in particular, including Spiral Down, that had this big bass presence that just kind of
Mm.
like just kind of took over, and I mean, I kind of like told Bo early on in the making of the third album that I was like, these three songs are kind of like central to this new album, you
Kind
know?
of like the
So,
blueprint. That's kind of the blueprint for what's happening.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the album itself is pretty varied, but I mean, those three songs, are kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
a big part of it.
The
yeah. It
centerpiece.
is like
What were the
it's
three?
that
I
big.
can't
It's
remember
just a
what were the three that you were.
Kind of, I mean, I think like Shapeshifter and Nocturnal Lullaby and Spiral Down. I mean, I think those are the first three songs of the album. And there's other songs in the album that have a big bass presence too, but I mean, those were kind of like the three that kind of like shaped the vibe that I thought would be cool for the album. So
yeah. So you're like, this is the universe we're going to
yeah,
exist in.
yeah.
But I have to tell you too, guys, is it I mean, not only is it just sounds great, but you guys really got me in, got me with the line when the mess we're in feels like deep love. That
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 was the one that got
that
me.
ached. That ached. It was like being stabbed with a butter knife.
Yeah.
Where did that one come from?
That's accurate.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really powerful line. And I mean, I definitely have to give some tribute to there's a PJ Harvey song, I think that Tom York sings on. I forget, I actually don't remember the name of
I
the
never.
song.
Yeah.
It's with
I think it's
it's
from the story by the sea or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
In that song, the chorus says the mess we're in. And I'm not one to usually like necessarily do that whole trick where,
mm,
grab like a lyric from something else. But I don't know, in this case, it was something where I was like, the mess we're in feels like deep love. And I was like,
mm,
whoa, it's like kind of
yeah.
giving tribute to what she's talking about. Like
Mm,
being, but kind of taking it a step further where it's like, just the whole concept of sometimes, you know, the people, there's people that we love or are really close with, and um there's like the love is so powerful and it's so worth it, but I mean sometimes it's like a big mess, and it could be
mm,
for series of things reasons, it's like
yeah.
um and I mean I think everyone can have their own interpretation, but I mean it's like love gets messy essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's funny because I have my own interpretation too. That's a because what it's actually I've been reading about this lately of when you're in one of these relationships, so I hear so so dramatic over time, right? And your stress levels are up, right? So you have this cortisol hormone, right? Like it's like fight or flight. And I actually was reading this book, and it says you actually become addicted to cortisol, like an addict will become addicted to cocaine or heroin
The
or whatever.
rush. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you actually you're trying to perpetuate that flow of that hormone in your blood by making things messier and messier,
Causing
and
trouble. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's what I was really feeling because I've been really like exploring this in myself and thinking, oh man, it's like and it's also like I don't mean to go down a psychological wormhole here, but the whole idea of like a trauma, growing up in a traumatic setting and looking to find that in your relationship. I mean, this is like a phenomenon. It's like the worst things that happen to you as a child, often people try to go looking for that in their relationship, which is like just horrible. And it's another like part
It's
of
what
this.
you know. It's what's
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, no,
even though it's fucked up, it's what you know, and there's some aspect to it that's nurturing, and
no,
that you associate with
exactly.
love. Yeah.
Exactly. And kind of taking exactly. I mean, there's so many directions it can go in. And because I mean, also sometimes, like, even if you're in a relationship and even though you're kind of like on each other's side and trying to get by, I mean, it's like if each person in the relationship is having their own struggles,
Mm,
it can get really messy, it can get
yeah.
really tough. And sometimes it's hard to support someone else when you're trying to support yourself. And you can just both
Mm,
fall into like a void, you know? So,
mm,
I mean, that's the thing. You can really interpret it in so many ways because, yeah, exactly.
yeah.
We all struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a beautiful line. That really hit me.
This is
Yeah.
turning into a great therapy session, Scott.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
all of
Well,
us.
but but I mean to continue with the line, this mesmerin feels when the mesmerin feels like deep love, we spiral down. I mean that it comes that's what comes next every
Yeah,
single time. It's not, there's no other ending to that story. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
Totally right.
but what were the beginnings of this song? Was this another idea you had on the shelf for a while, or how
Yeah,
did
for
this
a
one
little
start?
bit. Yeah, I think it was sitting on the shelf for a little bit. I mean, we tend to write so many things that like we're always two steps behind the
Mhm.
original idea of seeing itself through to fruition. So
Yeah.
uh, I think I don't know. Yeah, I was sitting around for probably a year or so before I
Mm.
introduced Ruben, and yeah, he latched onto it, and once he wrote those lyrics, it's like, yeah, all right, let's go with this. Yeah, this is perfect.
So you had the basic musical idea, Bo?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, it was sitting around for a while, and I don't recall exactly how it started, but I know that bass line just kind of bleeping and bouncing around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
And
like, okay, this is something, so let's turn it into.
and how quickly do these ideas come to you, Bo? If you like sit down, you're messing around with the keyboard, is it something that comes quickly? You're like, oh yeah, this is something good, and it happens quite quickly, or do you work on it over time?
I would say kind of runs the gamut. Sometimes it's
Mm,
like, okay, whatever. I messed around with that. Like, put it away for a minute, and then, I'm constantly going back and listening to stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, why did I abandon this or whatever, or what is this gem sitting here? So yeah,
yeah.
it, yeah, and that one in particular, I think I really did see promise in it, but we were kind of, like I said, we're often a few steps behind developing an idea, because like we're putting out at that time we were probably putting out our second album, putting the polishing touches on that. So, you know,
Yeah,
it
because
has to sit on the shelf. You can only do so many things at one time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because I mean, I think that when it's like we did the first album, Artificial Pulse, and it's like there was another folder of songs that became Moon Reflections, and it's like we just kind of kept going.
Mm,
And so that's the thing too. It's like, uh, there was a folder of ideas that we were starting to get to, but we were also concentrating on, finishing up Moon Reflections and all that, and kind of like that. And for this third album in particular, it was the mo I feel like for the first two albums, it was a little more where everything just lined up. It's like we had enough songs, and it was like, oh, these all these songs work together, and they're a good batch of songs. Let's, that became the album. For the third album, it definitely got a little bit where we actually had to like work on curating it, because it's like the box was starting to explode with the amount of songs, and we
that's a good problem
and
to have, yeah.
yeah, it's a good problem to have, but it did make it a little tougher in the sense that we had to like try out different combinations to
Mm,
get an album that worked, and it
yeah,
worked out. But
yeah, yeah.
but Spiral Down was definitely one of the ones that was like, immediately on the album, so.
And so if so if Bo sends you the basic musical structure, Ruben, I'm wondering what your process is like. Do you like put it in earphones and go for a walk or a drive, or you sit right at you loop different parts and just try out different things, or what was your process like?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's really interesting because I feel like as a songwriter, a lot of times I uh, I write songs, playing a guitar and like humming along and writing lyrics. And what I love with Ex-Hyena is like it's a different process, because it depends from song to song as far as how quick things come, but like regardless, it's always me listening on headphones, and it's like I'm coming up with the melodies and the lyrics, but I'm
Mm,
not singing it out loud, which is so interesting. I'm
mm,
essentially always right, because I'm always doing it when I'm not like in front of like the microphone or whatever, and it's not like I have a guitar. So it's like it's really interesting, because like I sit down and like write the lyrics in my head.
mm,
I mean, write the lyrics down, hearing the music in my head. So I mean, when I actually go and like, and it's pretty fleshed out in my head, but I mean, sometimes it's challenging going down and actually pulling it off, because like sometimes I imagine the vocals to be like, you know, it's just a lot harder to pull off sometimes. But it
mm,
also creates a challenge to myself. It's like, that I think that's why sometimes I'm singing really high for myself, or really low, or kind of all
mm,
over the place. And but I love it. It like doesn't get old. The other thing too is that um very, very, very rarely do I like go to Bun and say like, oh, like you have to change this around. It's
mm,
it's like usually the songs can be like this journey that I find a way to like find the melodies and the lyrics, but the songs become really interesting, and they're like a journey. I mean,
yeah.
it's just more unpredictable,
Yeah, I think what
like.
he's saying about is like about that is like I'm writing the songs without considering the vocal.
Mhm,
I mean, they're always, they're always like, there's room for it, but
mm,
it's like the basic structure. I send it as is, and he writes to that, and it's like it's always surprising to me where he fits the vocals in, because I'm like,
oh
oh,
yeah, yeah,
I didn't hear it that way, but which is part of what's really interesting with the way we work, the
yeah,
whole process.
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
this, it's like sort of a formed. He has to fit the pieces into the puzzle. He doesn't
yeah,
have to rearrange it hardly ever, and it just becomes an interesting like back and forth.
yeah. And do you get vocal ideas as you're composing and have to like shake it out of your head, or you just turn that off and just
I funny
I'm just doing
because
music and I'll see what he does.
yeah, it's funny. I somehow I don't go there. My brain doesn't go there in
Yeah.
this. in this musical duo, you know, it's just like I mean I used to write the whole song in previous musical acts, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in a lot of the times I would, yeah, I was coming up with the music and lyrics, and this is kind of freeing because I can just concentrate on creating an interesting
Mm,
musical track and then worry about the production and then handing it off to someone who's very capable and will always surprise me with what he comes up with.
mm,
So yeah,
yeah,
somehow
yeah, yeah.
my brain doesn't even go there, which is nice.
There
Yeah.
there are some exceptions though. I mean, so on Moon Reflections, Capture the Stills, Bo wrote the lyrics and melodies for that. And then and also on the new album, there's two tracks, Reptile, and then also
Secret.
a Secret to
Yeah,
Protect.
yeah.
And then on the we're actually working on a fourth album, and there's a track that Bo also has on that he did vocals to, and I mean that's the thing. It's like we have our MO of what like generally works as like the Ex-Hyena sound, but it's nice to kind of like change it up a bit, like there's a few songs that started out with like these ideas that I sent musical ideas that I sent to Bo, and he shaped into things, and so it's like we're not like
And
bound
it's
by.
usually the same kind of
Mm,
thing where he sends it to me really raw, and then I put it into my blender and send it back to him.
mm,
He's like as surprised as I am when I send him
yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
so
Yeah, so we're not like
Must
we're
be
not
so
like
fun.
bound
Yeah,
by,
yeah.
we're not like bound by
A certain
by
method or
what you
something.
say.
Yeah,
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 yeah, but it is something where we get a lot accomplished doing it this way, and it's rewarding. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And is I don't know if I've lost track of this, but is this will this be the first album with this the label that you guys hooked up with RE Mission
yeah.
Entertainment? Talk a bit
yeah,
about that, or how you hooked up with them, and what you think
it's a
they're
cool
going to.
story
Yeah.
actually. Um, so when we were working on this album, we were interested in I had heard this like mastering engineer who did work for Maduro and like
Mm,
a bunch of other artists. And so I reached out to Dave from Maduro,
mm,
he's on Remission, and I asked him, "Hey, can you give me the contact info of Adam Stilson, who's the mastering engineer?" And he sent me the email of Wes from Remission. I like kind of
My
by
mistake.
accident. Yeah. So I I wrote to Wes from Remission. I was like, hey, we're interested in having you master our track, blah blah blah. And Wes was like, no, this is that guy's email, but like, I am really impressed by the music you guys are putting out, and if you're ever interested in collaborating on a release or something, we could talk about it. And I was like, well, actually, you are like, probably like on the top of our list of like
yeah.
labels that I was thinking of reaching out to, just because I don't know, we really love the work that they do, and so it all worked out. It was just one of the kind of, but I love that story, that it was kind of like a happy
Well, it's a
accident,
missed email. I'm sorry.
gotta
I said RE Mission. I'm like, what? Yeah, sorry. Remission. That makes sense. Yeah. I was looking at the
we
logo. I
gotta
never heard it before.
we gotta thank Maduro for that for sure.
Yeah, I just hooked up with him on Instagram because I saw he had done a remix for Bestial Mouse of their
Oh yeah.
remix album Backbone that came out today. Which I love Bestial Mouse. I love actually, you guys would be great on tour with Bestial Mouse.
Yeah, they're good. They're great.
Yeah.
We love this stuff. And I was listening to some of those remixes today, and like, yeah, just great stuff.
Yeah, I know. It really sounds cool. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Um, so are you just like taking it project by project with Remission, or are you going to do a series of albums with them, or?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, I think the way it's set up is like a kind of album by album. So I mean,
Okay.
we're releasing this album, and there's not a release date yet, but I mean, I think that Spiral Down just came out on February 23rd. There's a remix of the song coming out by it's a remix by Morris Black, and we're doing a music video that's coming out on the 23rd.
Oh, cool.
Um, so really excited for that. And then the next thing after this, the remix of Spiral Down is the album. But I think we're gonna hone in on a release date soon, and I know it's coming out on CD for sure. So that should be cool.
Oh, awesome. And what about like if you're all right, so you guys were like basically doing your own thing, and now you're like hooked up with this label. Is it possible like to go to the next phase of like going on tour? Like, do you guys have that flexibility in your lives where you could go on a tour with a bigger band or something? Or are you planning to do a tour on your own?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, I think we're open. We're definitely open to stuff. I mean, so far we both work full time and
Yeah.
have a family and stuff like that. But we're strategic. It's like we
Mhm.
living in the Northeast. We've been able to play like a bunch of cities that aren't too far, and like we've been able to play like DC.
All right,
And,
yeah.
and I mean, we're open to doing other stuff. I mean, we've talked to friends in California about doing some shows there, and like we've talked to friends in other cities, like in Texas and whatnot. So I mean, I think we can strategically do that. I mean, you can do those things nowadays. So we're definitely open to festivals or like even like going on a series of shows,
Hmm.
small tours with people. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, because it's I mean it's a tough it's weird. I often think about this with the way the music business is nowadays. It's awesome. You can get your stuff out there, you can reach people, you can maybe hook up with this a label and they'll help you reach even more people. But that thing of like I know what I dreamed of as a kid, getting out on tour,
Mhm, mhm.
living the life out there is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like I don't even know if you actually I know Lynette from Bestial Mouse. She sets up all these tours and or she has someone that helps her too. But um yeah, it's just like it's like it just seems like an incredibly bold thing to do to just go to Europe and be like, okay, we're playing
Yeah.
for there for a couple months,
Yeah, yeah.
but
And I mean,
yeah,
I have done the larger touring thing with like with some older bands and whatnot. And but I mean, I think nowadays I mean I have incredible respect to artists that do that and get on the road and play a lot of shows.
yeah,
I mean, I think from our end, it's like we're happy to you know, be able to like play live and go to different cities and meet new friends and stuff like that.
yeah.
But I mean, I think I don't think we're in a place where we want to like just, you know, tour like a crap ton or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, at least that's me.
Well,
I don't
it's,
know
I
about,
mean,
but
I actually
Feel
don't
for
even
it.
know if it pays to do that these days, I mean, I don't even know because you can reach so many people. I mean, it used to, it's not like, playing, live, like I did in my bands, like in the 90s and stuff, when you're like signing up people to your mailing list, with a pencil on a piece of
Yeah.
paper.
Sending
You
postcards.
can't,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't, I mean, you had none of this
Spend
stuff
more on
here.
postage than you make at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you even get one email address written down properly in a dark club,
Oh God,
but
yeah.
nowadays it's like you could I mean you could do some campaign, with Spotify or Instagram or whatever, and add, a hundred people or reach a thousand people with your song. I mean, how many shows would you have to do to do that, So it's also like, I wonder if it's even worth it to go out there and do that these days. It's you kind of have the best of both worlds where you're in in a metropolitan area. Well, you're close to many metropolitan areas, or within a stone throw, and you can hit these cities and still, you know, do your own thing with promotion and stuff. Or you guys are still promoting, right? Did you turn everything over to Remission in that regard?
Oh no, we promote a lot. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I think that uh yeah, I feel like you kind of have to do that, you know what I mean? It's like we keep, I mean, we do more promotion than ever, really. It's like, I
mm,
mean, Remission, it's great to have like a partner that's helping and helping support,
yeah,
but we're really doing a lot, you know.
yeah,
And we make our own videos and stuff like that too. So
yeah,
Big help.
yeah, yeah. You got a built-in video production company here in the band too.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
got built-in music production and built-in video production. That is, you guys got it bookended.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's amazing not having to go to a, you know, recording studio too. I mean, it's like, you know,
Yeah. This is it.
Bo's a producer, you know, it's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, you were if I had a label, it'd be like right away, grab these guys. You could literally do everything yourself, you know, which is totally awesome. Well, I'm so excited for you guys that it must feel good to have this relationship with Remission. You know that you can put out a series of albums and you got a partner and stuff, and congrats on that. I think that's super cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah. Um, and so you mentioned next is a remix of Spiral Down,
Yeah,
and you're gonna
yes.
do a video for that.
Uh, 2 weeks from today, right?
2 weeks
Yeah,
from today? Oh, nice.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It
perfect.
comes out
Okay.
February 23rd. Yeah, Morris Black remixed the Spiral Down. And actually on Bandcamp, if you buy the Spiral Down single, it comes you pre-order the
Comes with it. Oh, you pre-order that. Oh,
yeah,
clever.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I actually think if you order it, it actually you might be able to like download both things like already like on Bandcamp, but on other streaming platforms, it's coming out like a kind of as a separate thing.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. We decided to do a video for the remix instead of the normal song. I mean, just because I don't know, we thought it'd be fun, and also, I
Yeah,
mean, Morris Black has um a good amount of like a decent following, so we figured it'd be kind of like a fun thing. And
yeah.
Morris Brian from Morris Black, he's in the video, so it was really cool
Oh,
collaborating with
cool.
him in the video. And the
Yeah.
whole video was really fun because there's it has we collaborated with a dancer at the Boston Conservatory,
Oh,
and
cool. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Screen and a projectionist.
Oh, awesome. Wow.
Yeah, so it's like a really cool space and like cool projections, and yeah, it's just a really cool collaboration all around. And it's a really fun song. I mean, it's like a pumped out
The remix.
uh yeah, pumped out remix.
Oh, awesome. Well, I look forward to hearing that. Yeah. Yeah. And how did you guys decide to do like the twin, you know, the twin vocals, the kind of chanting of the "we spiral down," where it all comes in together at the end like that? Because I love that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for more Ex-Hyena chanting in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know. To me, it's like when Ruben sings or when he sings the song, sends it back to me, I always have ideas to, stack vocals on top of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of been our MO for everything, just
Yeah.
this vocal thing.
I
And
love that. Yeah.
just kind of, yeah, it's become our calling card.
It's
Yeah.
like we do duo vocals on virtually everything, but I mean, I think the shape of that, whether it's like chanting or you know,
Like
or
a harmony or
falsetto
something. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever, it's all over the place, which is
That
also
changes.
kind of
Yeah.
what makes it
Yeah.
interesting. Because I mean, you know, when Bo sends me back, uh, like after I do my vocals and he sacks his vocals, it's like sometimes I don't know where he's gonna go with it, and it's really cool. And
Yeah.
sometimes when I listen back, I don't even know whose voice is what, like after a while, because I mean we
Yeah.
do like a few layers, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes we'll both
We
do
have
like a
become one.
falsetto, and yeah, 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 it's like Voltron or something.
Well,
For sure.
thank you so much for coming on the show again, guys, and continued success. We'll be looking out for the remix of Spiral Down. I'm super excited about that.
Thanks and
And
congratulate.
you guys are playing tonight, right?
Yeah, we're playing
Yeah,
tonight
yeah,
at Faces and Faces Brewing in Malden with
yeah,
like two bands that we're friends with. So it's gonna be a really fun show, I think.
yeah.
Congratulations on your new single, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
You're killing it. You're doing an awesome job.
Oh, thanks. Well, maybe I should send a fake email to Wes.
Ah.
There you go. Yeah. Be like, hey,
Awesome
Oh,
we're
thanks, guys.
looking
mastering
for a
engineer.
mastering engineer.
Wait, what? No, thank you guys for commenting on my, you guys are always sweet to comment on my songs, and thank you very much. It feels, I feel like I got street cred, when Ex-Hyena is throwing some compliments my way. So I got the dark music scene street cred. But have a great show tonight, guys. And yeah, talk to you soon.